A lady named Sandra had always felt at home by the sea. The rhythm of the waves, the salty breeze, and the endless horizon gave her a sense of peace she couldn't find anywhere else. Every summer, she returned to her family's old beach house in a small coastal town, a place filled with childhood memories and the comfort of familiarity. Paul, on the other hand, was a city man through and through. He thrived in the bustling streets of New York, where he worked as a journalist. His life was a whirlwind of deadlines, late-night coffee runs, and the constant hum of traffic. But after years of relentless work, he decided to take a break, a real one this time. On a whim, he booked a month-long stay at a quiet seaside town he'd never heard of, hoping to find inspiration for his next big piece. The two met on a cool August morning. Sandra was sitting on a weathered wooden bench, sketching the ocean as she often did, when Paul wandered onto the same stretch of beach, a camera slung around his neck. They exchanged polite nods, two strangers enjoying the same view. But as days passed, they kept running into each other at the local cafe, on the narrow streets of the town, and of course, on the beach. Sandra was intrigued by Paul's quiet intensity, the way he seemed to be observing everything as if searching for something just out of reach. Paul, in turn, was drawn to Sandra's calm presence, her effortless connection to the world around her. Conversations that began as casual exchanges about the weather soon turned into long discussions about life, art, and their very different worlds. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Paul confessed something that had been weighing on his heart. He told Sandra about the pressures of his job, how he felt like he was losing himself in the chaos of the city. Sandra listened, her eyes soft with understanding. She said,
"You know, the ocean has a way of teaching us to let go. It's always changing, always moving forward, but it never forgets where it's been."
Her words resonated with Paul in a way he hadn't expected. The simplicity of her life, the way she found joy in the little things, made him question what he truly wanted. They spent the next few weeks exploring the town together, sharing stories, and discovering a connection that felt as deep and timeless as the sea. As Paul's departure date loomed closer, he found himself dreading the thought of leaving. Sandra had become more than just a friend. She was the anchor he hadn't realized he needed. On his last night in town, they walked along the shore, the moonlight casting silver ripples on the water.
"I don't want this to end,"
Paul admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Sandra stopped walking and looked at him, her heart aching at the thought of him leaving.
"Then don't let it,"
she replied, her hand reaching for his. In that moment, Paul realized that life was more than deadlines and city lights. It was about finding someone who made you feel at home, no matter where you were. He decided to stay a little longer, just to see where this new path might lead. And so, Paul extended his stay, trading the noise of the city for the whispers of the ocean and the warmth of Sandra's smile. They continued to explore the small town and each other, building a love that was as steady as the tides. Years later, Paul and Sandra would tell their story to anyone who asked, often sitting on that same weathered bench by the sea. They'd laugh about how a city man and a seaside dreamer found each other in a place neither of them expected, proving that sometimes, the most beautiful stories are written in the sand.